There are situations nobody imagines will happen. Security cameras, residents' cell phones, and drones recorded the exact moments when everything went wrong, or when luck intervened in the last seconds. Unbelievable accidents, rare natural phenomena, and scenes that look choreographed. 105 recordings that show the decisive instant before the disaster. In this scene that looks like it is from a movie, fishermen run to save their lives as a tsunami hits the coast of Greenland. The phenomenon was caused by a large-scale landslide. Tsunamis are usually associated with tropical regions, but no coastline is completely protected. The driver of the black car forgot to remove the fuel hose before driving away. The action knocked over the pump and caused a small fire, creating panic among the people present. The hose released fuel on the ground, but employees acted quickly. In this impressive footage, we see the explosion of an underground fuel tank. The incident occurred in the city of Medina, Saudi Arabia. The explosion lifted the ground of the yard and sent pillars of fire and smoke into the air. Despite the magnitude, reports indicate there were no deaths or serious injuries. Who said lightning does not strike the same place twice? In this video, two fishermen were facing a severe storm on a river. When one of them was holding the rod, he was struck by lightning directly on the equipment. Shortly after, he decided to pick up the rod again, and the lightning struck him again. The residents of this Pakistani village of Mahandri were caught off guard by a large-scale landslide. An entire hillside next to the village disappeared in seconds. The event was recorded by local cameras and shows the instant when the entire landscape gives way at once. Giant waves during an ocean storm. Imagine the fear of witnessing this aboard a ship.
Yeah!
A single-engine plane made an emergency landing at the Mona Vale golf course right after an engine failure during takeoff. Both occupants survived with minor injuries. The golf course was the only flat and empty area available. A serious accident occurred near Pangolemo, Chile, involving an aircraft used in fighting wildfires. The plane collided with a pole, lost control, and crashed near Pangolemo Airport. After the collision, it hit a car and was consumed by flames. Lightning strikes the Volcán de Fuego in Guatemala during an explosive eruption. An extremely rare scene to capture. The accident was recorded in Russia. A truck collided with a red car at an intersection, causing the vehicle to spin dangerously close to a cyclist. Then the cyclist was also struck by the truck and knocked off the bicycle. Even so, he survived the impact. At Aero Country Airport in McKinney, Texas, a pilot was unable to stop the small aircraft at the end of the runway during an emergency landing and ended up colliding with the vehicle. One person in the car was injured, but there were no fatalities. The video captured from a police car shows the exact moment a house explodes in Hurst, Texas, after an SUV crashed into the structure and ruptured a gas line. When the officers were approaching to document the incident, the explosion came. 3 people inside the residence were injured. A pressure cooker exploded while being heated on an improvised burner. Luckily, the man was not injured. In just minutes, the storm surge from Hurricane Ian submerged Fort Myers Beach. The area was transformed into a large river, terrifying. The accident occurred in 2011 in New Zealand during an attempt to install a 26-foot Christmas tree using a helicopter. Pilot Greg Gribble, with 20 years of experience, survived with minor injuries despite the crash. The front-end loader nearly fell along with the rocks during the operation. Fortunately, the equipment managed to regain its balance. The truck collided with an overhead sign structure after traveling with the dump bed raised. The driver forgot to lower the bed after unloading. Unusually heavy rains in Brazil created a flood that swept cars and structures down the hillside. The region is historically vulnerable to episodes like this due to the terrain and urban concentration. It looks like a movie, but it is real. In the Philippines, a woman identified as A. May Lee Meningo risked her life to save her 2 Pomeranian dogs. She carefully dropped the animals from the 3rd-floor balcony to people positioned below. She only came down afterward, using the firefighter's ladder. The footage was recorded during the 7.8 magnitude earthquake that struck Nepal in 2015. The guests were gathered at the Summit Hotel in Kathmandu when the tremor began. The intense movement of the earth caused the pool water to overflow violently. Instead of resorting to computer effects, the film crew of Mission Impossible 7 used a real train and threw it off a cliff to create footage with maximum authenticity. Incredible. The footage shows the moments before a United Airlines Boeing, coming from Venice, collided with a light pole and a delivery truck during its final approach for landing. The aircraft suffered minor damage and managed to land safely. The truck driver escaped with minor injuries. A runaway pickup truck nearly runs over a pedestrian on the sidewalk. The man's reflexes prevented the worst. In Mukilteo, in the state of Washington, a pilot was coming from Oregon when he began losing engine power. Without enough altitude to turn back, he attempted an emergency landing on an avenue that appeared clear. A large dust devil forms right in front of a car, a natural spectacle with an end-of-the-world appearance. The collapse of part of the grain silos at the port of Beirut in Lebanon. The incident occurred in 2022, nearly 2 years after the mega explosion that devastated the city. The collapse was caused by the fermentation of the remaining grain in the silos, which generated heat and recurring fires until the structure gave way. Sawtooth Mountains earthquake. The collapse and landslide of Barren Spire, an entire piece of mountain going down. A large tree branch fell onto the roof of a coffee shop. Fortunately, nobody was injured. People managed to leave the area in time. The incident occurred at the Central Culture and Leisure Park in Kazakhstan. A tractor trailer went from 18 to 10 wheels in a matter of seconds. Whenever you see a machine of that size making a tight turn, it is hard not to think about the effort of the driver. In this case, fatigue took its toll. The truck ended up in a losing fight against concrete pillars. The damage was considerable. A railway accident that occurred in Wingate, North Carolina. A container truck got stuck on the tracks at a railroad crossing. The driver managed to get out in time. An imminent storm approaches a beach in Barcelona, Spain. The sky becomes completely overtaken by dark clouds. Enormous rocks rolled down the mountainside and struck 2 cars below. What would you do if you were there? Tell me in the comments. A major flood destroys homes in a matter of seconds. Pay attention to this man sitting in the back of the pickup truck. Luckily, he came out unharmed. A plane battles strong crosswinds to land at London Airport.
Stop that! Oh my God, mate!
Construction workers in St. Louis were trapped during the passage of an EF3 tornado. The footage shows destructive winds knocking down trees and lifting debris around the construction site. The men stayed inside the truck, holding on tight until the storm passed. An explosion occurred while the welder was working on a fuel tank in the bed of a pickup truck. The probable cause was the unexpected ignition of residual flammable vapors inside the tank. The professional was wearing protective equipment, including a welding mask, which likely prevented serious injuries. Pay attention to what will happen just seconds after the driver leaves the truck. In New York, a truck got stuck on the tracks of a railroad crossing while waiting for the signal to open. A local police sergeant managed to pull the driver from the cab just seconds before the collision. A pedestrian escapes by a few seconds from being hit by a car during an accident recorded in Brazil. The fish that appears in the video is a kobudai. The diver is Hiroyuki Arakawa in Tateyama Bay, Japan. The two have maintained a well-known friendship for more than 25 years. The fish, nicknamed Yoriko, appears at every dive. A curious case of a prolonged bond between a human and a marine animal. A three-wheeled vehicle loses control and crashes into a dental clinic. Fortunately, nobody was injured. In Yellowstone, a column of steam and hot rock was suddenly launched into the air, forcing everyone in the area to evacuate immediately. What a scare, right? The accident occurred in the city of Foshan, in the Chinese province of Guangdong. Reports indicate the container collided with a height restriction before toppling off the cargo vehicle. The motorcyclist escaped by a matter of seconds. The landslide occurred on July 17, 2024, in Zigui County, Hubei Province, China. The movement destroyed sections of the Wugao Road and damaged local orchards and infrastructure. It was caused by heavy rains. There were no injuries. In Bengaluru, India, a motorcyclist was attacked by a bull in the middle of the street. The impact threw him directly in front of a moving truck. The truck driver braked immediately, and the man survived with minor injuries thanks to the quick reaction. This pedestrian was lucky, but the traffic lane is no place to walk on foot. Pedestrians also need to follow traffic rules. A sudden collapse of part of the ceiling inside a health center. Fortunately, nobody was injured. The trailer was swept away by a raging river and plunged over a dam in Fry's, Virginia. The event was a consequence of the catastrophic flooding caused by the remnants of Hurricane Helene. The level of the new river rose to approximately 6.5 feet above normal. The video shows the panic of people fleeing a shopping mall after a strong earthquake. The event was a 6.7 magnitude quake that struck the Atacama region of Chile. A dump truck transporting scrap metal lost control and overturned on the road. The debris hit other vehicles and caused heavy traffic in the area. The incident occurred on the Tappan Zee Bridge near New York. Lightning strikes a high voltage wire seconds before a boy walks underneath. Thankfully, it did not hit the umbrella. A spectacular sunset captured high in the Andes from the Chimborazo volcano in Ecuador. This man was born again, an impressive record of how luck still exists. The accident occurred during the Guizhou Park International Road Cycling Race in China. The crash is believed to have started when a competitor lost control due to rain, triggering a chain reaction. In Taiwan, strong winds knocked a water tank off the roof of a 5-story building. The tank, weighing more than 44 pounds, struck the hood and windshield of a car passing on the street. There were no injuries. Loose wheels for moving vehicles remain one of the unexpected causes of accidents in urban environments. Luckily, the man was not hurt. This is a controlled explosion of hard rock used in mining. The detonation breaks and loosens solid rock, making excavation and material removal easier. This method is common in infrastructure projects like oil and gas pipelines. Interesting, right? A pair of startled deer ran into the glass door of this house, probably because the surface was nearly invisible to the animals. The operator jumps from the pickup truck 1 second before the vehicle plunges into the mining area. A decisive reflex. A demonstration of the Shockwave jet truck, a vehicle known for being powered by 3 jet engines. It was equipped with 3 Westinghouse J3448 engines, generating approximately 36,000 horsepower. It held the world speed record for jet trucks, reaching more than 370 miles per hour. All of that in a single vehicle. A massive landslide in northern India. Giant boulders rolled down the slope, hitting a bridge and vehicles parked in the area. Unfortunately, the incident resulted in the death of 9 tourists and injuries to at least 3 other people. Blizzards make roads a hazard. No grip, no brakes. Imagine being relaxed in your office on an ordinary day when suddenly a truck tire crashes through the window and destroys everything in its path. That is exactly what happened. The video shows the controlled demolition of the smokestacks at Plant Wansley, a power plant in Carrollton, Georgia. Georgia Power carried out the implosion as part of the decommissioning process of the plant. The footage is from a 6.8 magnitude earthquake in Taitung. The trees in the mountains began falling continuously, and the riders stopped in a hurry. Within seconds, the road was covered with soil and rocks. A car loses control and jumps the curb while a man sleeps peacefully on top of a motorcycle. Luckily, the vehicle slowed down before hitting him. Security footage shows the moment a red fire truck lost control and collided with a tanker truck entering a gas station. The incident occurred while the tanker was refueling, causing significant damage to the fire truck. Despite the impact, nobody was seriously injured.
Di Biren. Ini mobil masih kondisinya masih terjepit ya. Masih dempet mobil. Informasi satu orang anggota yang di samping ini terjepit. Terjepit kaki ya.
The construction accident occurred in May of 2017 in northern Italy. Despite the magnitude of the fall and the weight involved, the accident did not result in injuries to the workers on site. Footage of Typhoon Swordfish, which devastated Hainan and broke local records. More than 55,000 residences lost power, and approximately 10,000 people were affected. When a storm of that magnitude arrives, very little withstands it. A large bull attacks a tractor. The man jumps out just in time and escapes without any injuries. The footage shows the moment a 34-story building under construction collapsed in Bangkok, Thailand. The collapse was caused by a strong 7.7 magnitude earthquake that struck neighboring Myanmar in 2025. Reports indicated several casualties and missing persons at the construction site at the time. This kid certainly has a guardian angel. The crane lost stability during a load lift. Luckily, the 2 men nearby were not hurt. This is a natural event known as a dangerous high tide or ban on the Ganges River. The phenomenon creates strong waves and rapid currents that can flood coastal areas, often referred to as a river tsunami because of its intensity. The behavior of the river resembles that of the sea on these occasions. Davenport, California, engulfed by dense orange smoke. The footage was recorded during the August 2020 wildfires that forced the evacuation of hundreds of thousands of residents. The sky acquired that color because of the suspended smoke, which altered the way sunlight was reflected. A large tree falls and nearly hits cyclists passing through the area. It was a matter of a few yards. The footage shows the flooding of a temporary service bridge over the Dulyu River in China. The bridge collapsed in the turbulent waters of the river, and an excavator that was on it fell into the current. Footage of a tsunami hitting the coast of Sail, Morocco. The waves advance rapidly over the avenue. The dashcam shows a dangerous moment on the road. A white SUV drove over a manhole cover, causing the cover to be launched into the air and striking the windshield of the car right behind it. Lightning strikes a car on the highway. The vehicle acts as a Faraday cage and protects the occupants from the direct impact. These are the final moments of National Airlines Flight 102 in April of 2013. A Boeing 747 cargo plane was taking off from Afghanistan bound for Dubai. It is believed that the heavy cargo broke loose during takeoff, shifting the center of gravity and making the plane uncontrollable. Controlled demolition of a highway bridge in Germany, precise engineering in action. During a storm, a man was riding a motorcycle in front of a condominium in the Xuan Phuong district of Hanoi when he was nearly struck by a large piece of corrugated metal, the kind used for roofing. It was a matter of a few seconds to escape the direct hit. In Florida, a dust devil formed over home plate. A 7-year-old boy was in position when the whirlwind engulfed him. A cloud formation known as a shelf cloud. It usually signals the imminent arrival of a storm front. The man slipped in a puddle of water and knocked over a beer keg. The keg did not just fall, it exploded when it hit the ground. Fortunately, he suffered only superficial scrapes. The Spanish cargo ship Luno broke in two after colliding with a breakwater during a severe storm. The footage shows the moment the crew members on board were safely evacuated by military helicopters. All 12 crew members were rescued in time. Lightning struck a wind turbine in Stevens County, Texas, causing the structure to catch fire. An unusual image on the rural horizon. The phenomenon recorded is a microburst. It creates a localized torrential downpour with intense speed, descending from the sky in a column. The girl runs out to cross the street and is nearly hit by a bus. Luckily, the driver was quick and braked in time. During SailGP in Sydney Harbor, strong winds destroyed the rigid wing of the Canadian team's F-50 catamaran while the vessel was being lifted by a crane. About 300 people were evacuated and the Sunday races of the Grand Prix were canceled. Army Sergeant Rob Cesternino returned to the United States after a 10-month mission in Jordan. He decided to surprise his 9-year-old son Luca during a class at the Tennessee Taekwondo Academy. The Hughes wildfire occurred in Los Angeles County, California, in January of 2025. The fire started near Castaic and spread rapidly across thousands of acres due to strong winds. Wildfires in the region have become increasingly frequent and more intense each season. A large whale surfaces, with its mouth open, and closes it all at once to feed on the school of fish. A large boulder slides down a hillside and falls onto a car on the road. Luckily, nobody was injured. The glass door of this establishment exploded the moment the woman tried to close it. Tempered glass, when it shatters, goes all at once. A cute moment. A woman pets a giant Hereford bull without showing any fear. An animal with the build of a beast, but a docile temperament. Imagine breathing after the passage of that freight train. A diver swims alongside a giant school of barracudas, a rare scene to witness. A surfer faces a wave of unusual proportions that pushes him to the limit, a maneuver reserved for professionals. A large dust devil appeared unexpectedly at a Japanese school, right in the middle of the courtyard. The footage shows an unexpected situation in Ulu, Turkey. Floodwaters suddenly invaded a workspace after intense and prolonged rains. Within seconds, the area was overtaken by water. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the population of Tigray faced a double crisis. As if the virus were not enough, a massive swarm of desert locusts appeared in the region, threatening entire crops. So, which video surprised you the most? Do not forget to like and comment. Until next time.